Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Nashua School Board Policy Committee meeting. It is Wednesday, January 20th, 2021 at 6:07 p.m. We can do roll call. Mr. Guarino, do you want to do roll call or do I do it now?
Doesn't matter. You can do it.
I can do it.
Yeah.
So Ms. Bishop is here. That's me. Mr. Guarino.
I'm here.
And standing in for Ms. Ziem and Ms. Johnson, who are not able to be here, is Ms. Raymond.
I'm here.
And we also have Mr. Parker and Ms. Bagley. And it looks like tonight we're going to be reviewing proposed policy IHBAA. Title currently, which may not stay the same, is Evaluation Requirements for Children with Specific Learning Disabilities. So Mr. Parker, Ms. Bagley, do either one of you want to kind of give us a summary of what this is?
Well, Ms. Bagley can give the summary, but I know you want to change the title to Criteria for Special Education Evaluations. Keep it simple. So I'm going to change the title. We want to do that. Is that correct, Marcia?
Yes. And so the summary, just a basic summary, is the New Hampshire Standards for Children with Disabilities, for the Education of Children with Disabilities, requires that we have policy in place for evaluations of students with disabilities and with suspected disabilities. So this is just putting that policy into place. And it outlines the criteria that's required for our evaluations that are completed by our district staff, in addition to criteria that's required for evaluations that are completed by independent evaluators. When parents disagree with the district's findings in an evaluation, they have the ability to request an independent educational evaluation at the district's expense. And so this criteria outlines those the criteria that's required for the independent evaluations as well.
Sorry, I'm clicking in and out. My computer keeps freezing. Much like everyone else's life right now, right? Yeah, I mean, I've read through this. This sounds extremely on point, as Mr. Parker was saying. This is a well-written policy. Mr. Parker, do you have anything you want to add?
No, actually, I don't. You know, Marcia's on point. And I want to give props to Marcia and her department. As I told Marcia, there was nothing I had to add to this. Marcia sent this to me. So I want to give her full props on this. I want to make that known. I want to give her full props because I read this and I went to her and said, there's nothing for me to add. This is clear. It is to the point. It is kid-centered. And there you go. So what I would request, we pass this.
Yeah, just the change in the title, right?
This need not be a long meeting. So I just have to say, and I read this and I talked to Marcia about it, and I have to give her props and respect. And
I appreciate that. Thank you. I do have to say that I did consult with other districts' policies. So
I can't hear
anything. Marcia, stop speaking now. Okay.
I'm going to turn my video off so I can hear you guys better.
This is tight, and I don't see why we would disapprove of anything in this policy. This covers us. We didn't have it before. We have it now. What is in this policy that we would disagree with?
The only question I have is, I mean, this is, and Ms. Bagley, you would know this 100%. This is the law.
Yes.
So it's good to have our policy to review upon, but in regards to special education laws, this mirrors the exact educational RSA that we have.
So this comes from the New Hampshire standards for the special education for the education of children with disabilities, specifically ED 1107.02, which outlines evaluations. 1107 outlines the evaluation requirements for students with disabilities, and .02 outlines the requirements for independent educational evaluations. So the numbered items on the policy are specific to Nashua, based on the evaluator holding the valid license. That's true for our staff as well as any independent evaluators. So some of these points are specific to Nashua, but it's all based on the New Hampshire standards for education with children with disabilities.
Okay. Do any board members have any questions? Yes, Ms. Raymond.
Thank you. I have a couple questions. My first question was there an educational advisory that came along with the request to make sure that we had, all districts have this policy?
From the school board administration?
Yes.
Yes, this actually Miss Bernardo, excuse me, sent me the copy of that as well.
Okay. All right. I'll look for it because I'm like a nerd with these things. I like to read the educational advisory, and then there's like a special education handbook too that this mirrors, right?
That's correct. Yes, the New Hampshire standards for the education of children with disabilities is the handbook.
Okay. The other question that I had was regarding the New Hampshire School Boards Association. Do they have a sample policy for this policy?
Yes, they did.
Okay. And so this is similar?
Yes.
Or at least includes the points that they recommend?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
I think ours is better, actually.
Okay.
No,
And then the last question I had was probably entirely my fault because I had to run and pick it up off the printer, which is all the way upstairs in my house, far away from me. Did you change the title?
So the current title says evaluation requirements for children with specific learning disabilities.
Mhm.
And this policy actually encompasses more than that. So we wanted to change the title to criteria for
education evaluations.
criteria for special education evaluations.
Criteria.
And I did not have a chance to send that to you today, so I apologize for that. But I was told by that we could just say that now.
Yeah, the committee meetings are working meetings. I mean, it's not unusual for us to get information at this time or have people strike out and cross through and nitpick at your grammar too. We enjoy nitpicking at grammar.
You enjoy nitpicking grammar.
Okay, I enjoy
Don't throw me
nitpicking.
into that group.
That's Mark, so my grammar is perfect. So
I did not find any like floating periods or other things that I was gonna nitpick about tonight. So you guys get a big gold star for that. The last question I had was regarding the lettering of it. I looked at some of the policies that other districts had, which are very, very similar to this policy. But I noticed a lot of them had the lettering IHBAA and then -CE. And some of them had that associated with their policy. Some of them had this policy IHBAA. Some of them had IHBAA-CE, but it was this policy. And some of them had IHBAA-CE associated with their policies for students who speak other languages. So I guess my question is, it's an observation of that. And my question is, are we doing it right? or are they doing it right? Or is there a particular way to do it? The Department of Education just listed this lettering system. So it wasn't until I went poking around.
I think that this came from the NHSBA's recommended title.
Okay.
I believe that's the case. Quite honestly, I wrote the body of it and it showed up on this with this title when I got it back.
Okay.
And so the NHSBA has a number of policies that pertain to this. And this was the overarching policy, whether it was a -R, a -CE. This is the main one. If we wanted to have additional amendments or reference material, then we could go and have those as well, with this policy being IHBAA.
Thank you, Ms. Bernardo. I appreciate that. Ms. Bernardo knows how I really enjoy policy, and I'm sorry, guys. I'm like excited policy's happening again in detail. I guess then my last question, and I'll let it go, is do we need to do something either with this policy or have a secondary policy for families whose primary language is not English?
So we do have the New Hampshire standards do state that the students who are not, whose language is not English, need to be evaluated in their native language or be provided with the opportunity to have an interpreter. If you have an interpreter there to complete standardized testing, it does change the results. However, our New Hampshire standards do already state that a student needs to be evaluated within their native language or using their native language.
Okay, thank you. Just because as you mentioned, trying to answer some of the questions and do some of the activities involved in an evaluation would be difficult if English was not your primary language.
Absolutely.
So, thank you.
Mhm.
That's all I have, Ms. Bishop.
Mr. Guarino, do you have any questions?
I don't, because some of the questions I did have, people have already asked those questions. I want to make sure it conformed with the state standards. I did read it through, and I think it looks good, as Mr. Parker said. I don't really have any additional questions.
Okay, yes, good job, Ms. Bagley. Did you
I
have
have
any
another one.
fun over vacation?
Sorry, I have one more thing. Do we need to make a motion to change the title, or can we incorporate it in the motion to send it to the board?
We can just say as amended.
Okay.
That's my final answer.
Okay.
Okay. Let me, oh, I have it right here. Okay, so I'm going to make a motion to approve. No, I'm going to make a motion to send proposed policy IHBAA as amended to the full board for vote.
Okay,
will-
I'll second it.
Second, okay.
Okay, so Ms. Bishop votes yes. Mr. Guarino
Yes.
and Ms. Raymond.
Yes.
Okay, so this will go off to full board. Do we have any other matters to discuss or to talk about? Yes, Ms. Raymond.
Thank you. I'm just curious about the queue for policy things going forward. Do you have a queue? Are you looking for board members to be sending things to you, or are you still working through older ones and the educational advisories?
So the plan is to go through, I know you had made a list when you were policy chair of all of the policies that needed to go through every couple of years. There's a list of those. Mr. Parker and I were going to connect after all of the committee appointments were made to start putting those on the agenda. And then we can take recommendations for new policies as they come about. I know the New Hampshire School Board Association, am I frozen?
Yep,
Hold on.
but we can hear you.
All right, I'm gonna stop my video for a sec. I know the School Board Association didn't have a lot of stuff to say about making new policies in regards to the pandemic. So even though we're addressing things within full board meetings, we don't necessarily need to have full policies. But that certainly shouldn't stop us from taking a look at, what is going on in our schools, and if we can make any improvements or changes or support existing policies, we can continue working on that. But Mr. Parker gets to keep working with me.
Beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. One of the things that will be coming up as we look at the middle schools, we do want to look at leveling. And I know that's going to be a big thing. And so,
Did you say leveling?
yes, I did.
Ooh, that would be a robust discussion.
Yep. And so, as I put in a memo earlier to, I think to Gabby and to some others, might not be next month, but I think we need to look at that. We need to look at that. And so that's something I am working on, and I want to give you all a heads up.
Okay, I think that there was a proposed policy back in 2017. So I can dig that up if that's helpful.
It would be helpful. I wasn't here obviously in 2017, but as we have a new middle school coming online, and we're reimagining or trying to reimagine middle schools, and we're trying to, it's a moment for us, and I think we need to look at everything, and so the next policy you will probably get from me, if not next month, maybe the month after, because it's a big issue.
Okay, I'll dig up the old work that was done and forward it to Ms. Bishop and you, Mr. Parker.
I appreciate that, but that's on my docket, and so I'm going to give you a heads up. I don't want to be indiscreet or in secret, and so I'm looking at that, and so we will fun times.
Yay.
Awesome.
And sorry, I'm putting Miss Bernardo on the spot. Miss Bernardo, do you still have the binder that Miss Raymond and the team when she was there? Because I know we were working off of, Donna and I, Miss Fitzpatrick and I were working off of a list that was created. Do you still have that?
I don't have a binder they were working on. It's something that Donna would have kept possibly. It might be in the office.
Okay. Just because there's no point of recreating the wheel if it's already been done.
No,
Okay.
we don't have any specific binder or list that she was working on. We personally went through last year prior to getting the NHSBA's assistance and looked at the numbered policies that needed to be lettered. That was
Yep.
a big thing that might be a good place to start. They do want the policies reviewed, I believe, every 4 years. So maybe taking the list and sorting by date and kind of reviewing those might also be a really good idea as well.
Mhm. Right, because before the pandemic hit, we were reviewing policies from like 1988 that hadn't been updated yet. So
There are still quite a few of those.
yeah. All right. Well, we can connect offline about creating that agenda. But I appreciate everybody for coming tonight. Again, Ms. Bagley, what a wonderful policy you've created. Thank you, Ms. Raymond, for popping in at the last minute. And it's always nice to see you, Mr. Garino. Do I have a what?
And Mr. Parker too.
And Mr. Parker, yes.
All right, can I motion to adjourn?
Seconded. Okay. On the motion to adjourn, Ms. Bishop votes yes. Mr. Garino,
Yes.
Ms. Raymond.
Yes.
Okay. We're now adjourned. It is 6:27. Enjoy your January 20th, guys. Bye.
Thank you.